We're on the beat with Tony Maroney, and today we have Marina Anderson with us, who has just finished a book that's just been released.
Backside.
Marina is an actress, and I met her back in Toronto.
Way back.
Way back, a long time, and we're in Hollywood now, where she presently resides.
Yeah, not in the hills, but somewhere out there.
Okay, so Marina, the book now,
the book.
What has inspired you to write this book?
You know, I often get asked about the title of the book, David Carradine, The Eye of My Tornado. I often referred to David as the eye of my tornado. He was like the center of the calm of the storm, and everything's like shh around him. Sometimes he created the chaos just to get a reaction from people, and sometimes it just happened. So I thought it was very appropriate. Close friends appreciate the title of the book. I know I do. But the purpose of writing the book, I actually started writing the book about a year before we separated, in the year 2000. And it was just like letters and emails that I would just save in a file and log up, and they became a stack. And the more I talked to people and the more I really got into how I felt about the relationship and whatnot, it became chapters, and people would say, oh, you should write a book about that. That's fascinating. People should know about this. You're going to help people. And I really kept that in mind through my whole journey with this. And I consider this my healing journey. It isn't just about the relationship for the two of us. I think it's something that universally people can identify with. Just complications and day-to-day living. You don't have to be married to an icon to have these problems. And so with that in mind, I wrote about a lot of detail, and I come out there with my own abuse issues and how that correlated with David's dark side. And there's an interview here with Dr. Drupinski, and he addressed certain specific, very touchy, sensitive issues, taboo subjects, and it was just like an epiphany for me. And I got my healing and closure with this, and my aim was to help other people do the same. And when David passed away, I added some other things in there because I felt it was really pertinent and profound that these issues be addressed as well. And it's all here. It's really comprehensive. It's two souls entwined. It's a love story. We'll wait for sound. And it's really intense, but there's love here. And there's wonderful stories at the end of the book. There's a whole section of people who work with David and friends, and you get a whole different perspective. So I think the fans that think they know him, there's going to be some things in here that'll be quite a revelation, and I think they'll appreciate it because they'll see him as a real human being, not just a celluloid fantasy icon.
Now Quentin Tarantino recently had him in Kill Bill, and you were actually one of the main reasons Quentin got to know Dave. Can you tell us how that came about?
Probably I was the key person. It was actually in Toronto, 1995, Toronto Film Festival. And David and I were crashing all these parties at the festival, having a great time. And you got some great footage when we had our original outing. Yes, our first date.
At the Canadian Film Centre.
That's right. So this is, fast forward 1995, and we were upstairs at the Bistro 990. And we were talking to Drew Barrymore, and I noticed Quentin Tarantino walked in. And I said, David, that's Quentin Tarantino, and we gotta meet him. And David is, he was an extremely shy, very sensitive person. People don't know that about him usually because they think he's this big bravado kind of kung fu guy. No, he's very shy. So he has this insecurity about himself. He didn't want to go up to Quentin. So I said, you can't pass this opportunity. This is major. You got to do something. So I went, if you don't go over to him, I will. So I did. I literally went over to Quentin, tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, we'll wait for sound again.
It's okay.
And I said, my boyfriend is a major fan of yours. And he goes, oh, really? He, like, looking me up and down like, who's your boyfriend? I said, well, David Carradine. He was like, oh, my God. I saw him come in, I was so intimidated, and he was like, blah, 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 blah. So I literally took him by the hand and led him over to David, and it was like this mutual adore fest. And they chatted for about 15, 20 minutes, and I couldn't let it go at that point. And so I said, well, why don't you come to lunch with us tomorrow? And he accepted. So the next day, David at the Alexander Bar in the Sutton Place, he serenaded Quentin and Adam McGoyan. And the point of that was to prove to Quentin that he could function under the alcohol, because David was like a quart and a half of vodka a day at that point. And Quentin had major reservations about working with David. And he was really upfront about that. And I thought, well, this is the perfect opportunity. David can prove that he can not only function, he's great, he's coherent, blah, 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 blah. So that was the initial introduction. And then fast forward over the 6 years of constant schmooze and seeing him at parties and whatnot. There was another story that's in the book that I'll save because it's too time consuming, but it's a great story. And at that point, Quentin said, I'm not just going to find any project for you, I'm going to find the project. Fast forward to Kill Bill.
Now, not only were you involved with Dave, but you had a phenomenal dog recently. Can you tell us something about this dog?
The dog. It was my beautiful collie, my beloved collie Lulu. And she was sister to Lassie, daughter to Lassie 8, sister to Lassie 9. And, it's in the Blue Blood Royalty Canine. I got her started as a Ralph Lauren model. And it just kind of came to her. She was just magnetic. And obviously, you look at this dog and you just couldn't help but smile. And I had her certified as a therapy dog. She was my service dog. So she participated in organizations to help raise funds for animals and nursing homes, and you go in there with the senior citizens, and the most incredible, gorgeous soul.
She had some appearances on Desperate Housewives.
Desperate Housewives, Ghost Whisperer. I mean, her resume kind of competed with mine at one point. And David was the one who helped pick her out of the litter for me. He pointed her out and he goes, I think you should look at this one. And I went, And when I picked her up, it was that soul connection. And that was it. So for 9 years, and she passed away about 2.5 years ago.
Now let's go into your career now. Recently, what have you been doing? I know the book took a lot of your time.
The book was intense. A total solid year, the last year of my life into the book, and now it's into the promotion. But getting back into the acting thing, I did a show called Unsolved about a year ago. It has yet to air. But doing more voiceovers and getting back in the swing of things. I've got some shows in development for like a couple reality shows and TV series. You just keep accumulating things and throw it to the wall and see what sticks. So I'm still in the mix. Still doing it. I'm toying around with managing again, but I'm more or less managing myself at this point. So it's never a dull moment in this business, as you know.
And we expect to see you in Toronto again shortly.
Shortly, hopefully soon. I plan to get a book signing there, do some more shows there, talk shows to promote the book. So that's on the horizon. On the horizon. So yes, David Carradine and the Eye of My Tornado. Indigo Chapters, Amazon, Barnes & Noble here, Borders, your favorite bookstore. I'm sure they can order it in. Thanks.
Okay, so we've been speaking to Maureen Anderson here on the Nightingale community site. So you're from where?
Sydney, Australia.
Wow.
It's wonderful. Yeah, you should come promote it in Australia. I think it'll do well. Yeah.
I would love to get out there.
Have you been?
Never been out there. I've got friends that have been out there a few times, and then just everybody's just like how fabulous it is. I've never had anybody have a bad experience going there.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to.
Cool.